Yo, what it is. It's your boy Tacos and Workouts with another one. That's right, with another one. Before we get started with today's episode, do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel, and let's start the show.
Órale, como this is me, little hater. And guess what, Doug? This podcast is brought to you by the Patio Nuts. You had me at hola. So go out and get some of these nuts. It's the Patio Nuts.
What it is. Podcast. Thank you everybody for coming back and joining us. Please make sure to check us out on Spotify under the What It Is podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel under the Tacos and Workouts. All right, guys, we have a very cool guest. I'm so excited to have him. And here he is. Let's welcome on to the show.
Hey, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Yo, Dylan Garcia in the mix.
There he is. What it is, Mr. Dylan Garcia, man. I'm glad that we finally had a chance to get this going. I've been trying to get you on here for a little while, and we were finally able to make this happen. So I'm excited, man. Tell us all about yourself, man. What do you do?
So I'm 40 years old. I'll tell you right off the bat. You can see the gray that I got right there. I'm a singer-songwriter, recording artist, mental health advocate, a business owner, and I'd like to say I'm a good man with good intentions. Good man with good intentions for the world and good intentions for people.
Okay, yeah. I actually I found you, and you also do podcasting. Am I right?
Yeah, I started a podcast called Never Been Defeated. There's a song that's on my album called Never Been Defeated. And it just that title, I've been knocked down, but I've never been defeated. And that title kind of resonated also with the podcast because, it's about mental health. It's about overcoming struggles, helping you be the best person that you can be, and just trying to motivate people or just share what parts of my story I can, and maybe do some good in this world, maybe change somebody's life, maybe save somebody's life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how I found you. And here at the Tacos and Workouts channel, we're all about, trying to get people to make like healthier choices, whether it be, getting started on trying to lose weight or trying to be healthy. And we also support mental health. Because I think that's so important. There's other ways that people could try to grow, right? And whether it be in business, career, etc., right? But I think that a huge attention needs to be also focused what's going on mentally. Sometimes people don't have the proper tools to be to where they need to be, and I support that, man. But I think I heard a story, and if you don't mind telling us a little bit your story, I think you were. I think you know somebody that was like a surfer at one point, and he was doing well. He was successful, but then he had something happen to him because he
Yeah.
had some problems with mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's a documentary called Kissed by God about a surfer named Andy Irons. Um, he passed away, and I think it was 2010 when he had passed away. It was really hush hush. Wasn't really, I tried to find information about how he had passed. But it was really hush hush, and so I mean, stuff like this. He's a Hawaiian dude, Hawaiians are a whole different culture when it comes to things. And the documentary comes out, and it has, he was diagnosed bipolar. He was bipolar, and it really resonates with me because I'm also diagnosed bipolar, and that documentary really resonates with me because I had the opportunity to meet him at a party, and then I got to see him surf when he won the world championship at Pipeline for the first time. I was there, like I got to witness him surfing. I mean, the waves were big that day, and he was just pulling in like just another day at the office, man. And like, he was a one of a kind talent that we had in the surf industry. And the documentary touches on how much he was struggling. How much he was struggling, like being fully in a bipolar episode, surfing Pipeline and winning the championship. That's like pretty intense. And the way that he battled things, there was drug use involved, and there were certain things, I don't want to say anything bad on Andy's name, but there was just certain things that went on. And didn't, there were decisions that he made that didn't help him, you know, and it's tough. And he suffered from an addiction, and that's why he ended up dying, was from his addiction to opioids, trying to get off of them. And being myself, being diagnosed bipolar, like I can relate to stuff like that, especially when you're not on the right medication or they haven't figured out your diagnosis. Because I was misdiagnosed for many years as schizophrenic, and it wasn't until like I had blood work done and was really, really, thoroughly checked out by a psychiatrist when they realized, like, no, man, you're too sharp to be like, so you don't have the composition of somebody that's schizophrenic. And luckily I ended up getting this doctor and this new psychiatrist, and he really pinpointed, like, nah, this is how you are. And it was pretty spot on to how I feel and what was going on. And he changed my medication, and he challenged me to exercise more. He challenged me to push myself. He challenged me to not forget about music, because before then music was always off and on, because I was always dealing with mental health things. And I really took it to heart, and I made a decision, that, okay, I'm gonna get my life back together. I'm gonna fight back, and I'm going to do what I got to do to make a difference. And it was a tough journey. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, because, I wasn't always like this. Like, I finally feel like I'm truly who I'm supposed to be as a human being. And it's really tough, like, dealing with things mentally when you especially don't know what the hell's going on with you. You don't know what's going on with you.
For people that don't know exactly what being bipolar is, like, what exactly is it? Like, is it you're happy 1 second and then not so much the next, or how does that work?
It's a combination. It's mainly a combination of mood swings, from excessive highs to excessive lows. And what your psychiatrist, what the doctor tries to do, is just get you in the middle, so you're not going so high. And I think that's why I have such high energy, is because I'm always fired up. And but then I can go strong for like 3 months, and then finally, like, one day I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm tired. I need to take a break. It's just, and they talk about it in the documentary too, where we get these waves of energy that the normal person doesn't. And it's a matter of just being able to control that stuff, because when you're on those highs, and they call it mania or being manic, I mean, you can make a lot of bad decisions. I mean, you're not really thinking straight, and then when you have these lows, you could feel depressed, and I mean, not feel like you want to get out of bed for a day, like you're just tired. And it's really tough to, like, get in the middle, to, like, figure out what's really going on with you, and to get that balance, but like I said, it took work. It took several years of work, and I really dedicated myself to this beginning. I think it was May of 2018, that it's like, okay, I'm going to take my career serious. I'm going to take my mental health serious. Like, I'm going to grow up and take care of things, and basically not use my diagnosis as an excuse of why I couldn't be successful.
Wow, that's awesome. But I think it also benefited you to get that, because now you understand what the problem is. And if you start feeling a certain way, you recognize what it is, and you're like, okay, this is, as opposed to what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Something's wrong with me, and you have no health. So it's like, that's why I always tell people, man, if you feel something's going on, like, go seek a professional help, man, because it's out there, man. I do that all the time as well. Like, if I feel anything, I go to the doctor and I'll be like, hey, doc, what's wrong with me? And like 90% of the time, goes nothing. He goes, you're just fat. Oh yeah, man, check this out. I went to the doctor once, and I go, oh doc, this is when I used to drink a lot. I go, hey doc, I messed up my kidneys, I messed up my liver, I'm having back problems. And then he goes, come here. He's like, what's wrong with you? And then he looks at me, he checks, and he goes, does this hurt? Does that hurt? Right? And I go, no man, I think I have cirrhosis of the liver. He goes, you're just fat. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. He goes, no, you need to lose weight. So, but I got it checked out, and at least I know. But, that's what I'm saying, guys. It's very important to be honest with yourself. Go to your doctors, get yourself checked out, man. That's awesome. Yeah. You're on the right track and doing all that. And I thank you for being so open and sharing that, with the show, because, there might be somebody out there who might benefit from this, you know. So thank you, Dylan, for
I do.
bringing that.
I do my best, like even at every show, just to like get a word in, and because like for instance, when we were in Pomona, when I performed in Pomona at the car show at the cruise night, um, I spoke briefly about mental health, and a young kid, he reminded me of my son, just 13 years old, was really, he came up and he was like really grateful. He said, "Hey man, thanks for just mentioning that, because a lot of people don't know what goes on with some of us, and that, besides the lowriders, the concert and all the vibes, like that young man was the most touching thing about going out there to Pomona, not just to rock the mic, but to for other people to say, so other people don't feel like they're the only ones going through something. I think that's important. I think us as human beings, we're so self-centered and focused on ourselves that sometimes 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 we're just too much like that, and it was really nice to really make an impact in a way, not only just with the music. Just music's the platform. Music's what gets me the invitation to go speak on these things. And if it ain't me, who's gonna do it? Somebody's got to do it. And I just figured that's what, after going through everything that I went through, that's what God kind of told me. It was like this. I prayed on it. Like, why did all this happen? Like right when I signed a record deal, like everything's going good. Like why? And it's God just telling me, I wanted you to have a better story to tell.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's awesome, man. So something is definitely going on with you. I see that good sincerity within your heart. And I look at you and I go, this is a good dude. It's like he's got it going on. He does the surfing. He's got an interesting story to tell. So I'm definitely gonna bring him on the show. So not only I could follow him, but everybody follow him, man, and support him as much as possible, because we need to help him get there, man. So tell us a little bit about your music, man, because that's also a big part of what your life and what you do, man.
Yeah. So when I was 19 in college at UC Irvine, I was going to school there, and that's when I started teaching myself how to play guitar. I was always interested in music, and in middle school, I played saxophone in middle school band. I just something about, I mean, the saxophone at that time, I think Kenny G was like blowing up with the saxophone back at that time. So everyone wanted to play the saxophone. But music's just been something that always spoke to me, ever since I was a kid, like listening to my dad's record, like being introduced to like bands like El Chicano, like that, like, and those songs being sampled by other artists, like by DJ Tony G or Kid Frost, and those songs, and like being a little kid being exposed to music like that just blew me away. Like I just loved the music. And luckily I kept working at it and working at it and tried to be a better artist, trying to be a better guitar player, trying to be a better songwriter, just kept at it and kept at it and just never stopped. We just, despite mental health setbacks, I just never stopped. It's like, they in the documentary The Eagles, they say it takes 300 songs to finally write a good one, and that's the truth. And I want to put out feel good music. I want to put out a good vibe and a positive energy wherever I go. So even if just so and just so people can say, yeah, he's a good guy. I'm not out doing people dirty. I'm not out to do things like that. I got pure intentions with people. And I think that honest and sincerity with people goes a lot farther than being, unsincere, I don't know how to say it. Unsincere, sincere. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we know what you mean.
Yeah, but just not, I just want to be as sincere as possible. It's like when Eminem's doing the last battle rap in the movie 8 Mile, right? And he's being so vulnerable. He's basically talking all the mess that this other guy would talk on him. And it's like you put yourself out there like that. What's somebody going to talk shit on? What's somebody going to talk shit on just because you're being
Yeah,
honest?
you pull their ammunition. I was like, okay, now try to destroy my character, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and yeah.
Yeah, and I think I have a really solid work ethic. Being raised by my parents, they and my family, they're hard workers, and I was around that. And when I was a kid, like I wasn't allowed to sleep in. I wasn't just allowed to lay around the house. Like there was always things to do, and that really benefited me as I went to college because I knew I had to have a solid work ethic, to finish college and to be an adult afterwards. And what world do we live in that doesn't work every day?
Yeah, man. And now you know what? I don't know it's specifically who said this, but it's the world stops for no one, right? So it's just constant. So it's like we grow up as hardworking, Latinos that invoke with good traditions, and todos los días te levantas y tienes que ir a trabajar because that's the way it is, man. So yeah, that's what we do, man. But what specifically got you like that sparked that interest in music for you? What was it? Did you hear like a particular song or
Like the what made me want to pursue, because before it was always just a hobby, just jamming the guitar, having a good time, surfing and just playing guitar. But what it really was when I lived down in San Diego. I had moved down to San Diego in 2004, and I met a good friend of mine who's a great friend of mine to this day. And at that time, he was blowing up down in San Diego as a rapper, and we were hanging out all the time, And I remember he had a show. He was in a fraternity, and he had a show at the fraternity house. And I came, I was his right hand man. I go and I see him rocking the stage, and I seen like all the college kids just all fired up. And this is what came to my mind. Man, this fool ain't no smarter than me. I could do this shit too. And that was it. That was it. It was like that was it. So I started trying to take it serious, because I always liked hip hop music. I always liked rap music, Chicano rap music, and I like Sublime. I like reggae music. I like all kinds of music, and that's when I actually started trying to write raps and really trying to write songs, like try to write songs. And that was in 2004. And it wasn't until, I just kept writing and playing guitar and going back and forth between reggae music and rap music. And around in 2000, I want to say 2007 or 2008, I knew an owner of a venue that they had in downtown Oxnard, and I made a deal with the venue, with the owner of the venue, if he would let me put on shows at his place. And he gave me the green light, and I started putting on these really successful, cool hip hop shows where I just basically gave everyone around town a chance to perform in front of their family, their friends, and bring a good environment. It started with that. And I think going in with that mentality, like instead of just being an artist, try to perform, why don't I try to create an event and make an event out of it for other people, and other people can get on stage. That's what really opened the door on learning how event planning goes, how to plan events. And then soon after that, I started working at a nightclub when I was doing the VIPs. That's when everyone was buying bottles back in the day, and when Nelly and all that stuff was going on. And I worked at a nightclub, and I try to put myself in these situations. I've had so many different jobs, but it's just to be a jack of all trades, just to learn how things run from the inside out. And, once I got to see things from that perspective, now, fast forward, 12 years later, Marlo, 12 years later, it's really given me a better vision as an artist, and to make sure that I'm taken care of as an artist when I'm doing events and when I'm doing shows. And it's really taught me, it really taught me to have value for my time and my music, and place value on it. And 2009, I met Ronnie King. I was in Orange County in 2009. I started a reggae band. We got really popular, and then the band broke up like the day before we were supposed to go in the studio. So I went to the studio by myself, and I said, okay, I guess they're like, where's the band? And I said, there's no more band. It's just me. And luckily the right people were at the studio at the right time. And I recorded about 5 songs on the acoustic guitar, and everyone's kind of tripping, like, who's this Latino kid right here just showing up in the studio? This was in Lake Forest. Orange County's pretty predominantly, gringo area. And I did, when I had my studio time, I did my best, and people liked what they heard. And a couple people were helping me out at the time, and somebody said, "Hey, why don't you try to connect with Ronnie King? Ronnie King's, going to start working at the studio that you went to." I called the studio, set a meeting with Ronnie, and I would like to say the rest is history, but that's kind of like when all the hard work began. Because right after a couple months after all that happened, I'm in a mental hospital. Like a week, 2 weeks after I signed the record deal, and I look back and I realized like that year of 2009, I was just slowly, my mental health was just slowly and slowly deteriorating, and but I was able to still function and do music. And my mental health just got out of control to the point where I couldn't control it. And next thing I know, I'm in a mental hospital, and finally get medicated. And I'm like, holy whoa, like I'm back to normal. Like, how long was the craziness going for? How long was I crazy? And that's what started the journey. I worked with Ronnie off and on from then on, and I got out of the contract that I was in with the record label, and I started just putting out songs independently here and there, for about a solid 9-10 years. And it wasn't until COVID happened, man. It wasn't until COVID happened which really taught me how to be an artist. When everything shut down, and I got my recording studio, and I just started going to work.
Yeah.
And I started going to work and started writing songs again, and I learned my voice. I figured out my voice
Yeah.
at that time, and now here we are, man. It all started when everything started shutting down in March of 2020, man. That's when I really just locked in and just didn't complain. There was no shows, didn't complain this couldn't happen. No, I just figured I'd make it happen myself. Started doing a lot of doing live streams, playing acoustic guitar. And yeah, man, it's been good these last couple of years, just keep building and building and building, and to the point where, I'm talking with people like you on podcasts, tacos and workouts.
Yeah, those are people that support the channel. They follow and they have the ability to drop a comment. That's why I tell people to subscribe to the channel and watch us live,
Yeah,
because you guys get to participate and you guys get to answer, ask some interesting questions here with the guest and interact. So it's a perfect opportunity. And this is one of the questions that I had planned to ask you.
okay.
But what, one of our friends here also reached out and wanted to ask you is, what kind of music do you do? Like, what? Tell us more specifically. I know you said you started like with the rapping and you play the guitar, but I mean, is it like, do you rap and also play musical instruments, or is it like a whole a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. There's one song that's on my new album coming out that's like a mixture of reggae, hip hop, kind of like a Sublime kind of sound. Um, I just like to label my music as feel good music. So if you listen, when my album comes out, you can listen to my album from song 1 all the way to song 11, and it flows and it has a vibe. Like, you'll have some G funk, maybe a little bit of reggae, some like old school soul, just stuff that would make you feel good. The kind of music that I would want to listen to on the radio, or what I would want to listen to when I'm in the car. And I think when I changed that perspective too, is the music that I would like to listen to, not thinking and writing music what everyone would like, what I think everyone would like, but thinking like what I would like. And that's when things really started changing. And that's when people started really gravitating towards the music. So the music is, I would say, it's feel good music. You can catch me rapping, you can catch me singing on the album. I'm playing guitar on the album, and fortunate enough to work with different producers. Big Bad Beats, they did my track Money Monet. That was on the radio for like 8 weeks in Louisiana when it came out. I worked with them. That's like a funk record. I worked with Tony G and Ronnie King on 2 tracks. One of them is like a reggaeton Latin record called It's a Vibe. We did another song, Streets Be Talking, which is a more like laid back G-funk kind of sound. G-funk and the style of music that I'm doing that's on this album is like a majority in the style of music that I grew up listening to. And when I started the album working with Tony G, that really, working with the legend of the songs that I grew up listening to as a kid, that really put things in a really good perspective of how dope of an artist I could be. And Tony, with this album, like I said, there's only one song I played guitar on, because when I was with Tony in the studio, Tony said, "Hey, you know what? I'm not feeling the guitar. I'm not feeling the guitar. Let's do something else." And that's how we did It's a Vibe. Still sounding kind of reggae, but it's reggaeton and Latin. And it was really that. And I just felt like, man, maybe it's just time to set down the guitar, and just do music.
I think somebody's asking for your services, but we're not gonna ask him that specific question on how much he charges and all. We're not gonna put him on the spot. We're live, man. Look, what we are, which is a good thing. It's working. People are having events now. They're getting to know who you are, and what we're gonna say is follow him on Instagram, follow him on the platforms, listen to his music, and yes, reach out to him and ask him then. But that's it shows that people are interested in you,
Thank
and that's the whole point to having these podcasts to work together and do all that great stuff. Um, so I also kind of like by listening to your music. I also kind of correct me if I'm wrong. Does it have like a beach vibe to your music? Kind of did
Yeah.
growing up? I think you grew up for a couple of years and I'm sorry, you lived in a couple of years in Hawaii. Did that influence your style of music as well?
Yeah, that influenced just my whole way of life living out there. And I didn't live out there for a couple years. I would go when I would go on surf trips. I would go like the longest amount of time that I spent out there at one time was about 60 days, about 2 solid months out there. And if you can go to Oahu and stay in Waikiki and do the whole Waikiki thing, but like when you're out there and you're in it, like you're out there and you're in it and you're not like a tourist, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. And I really like it. I had a chance to spend Thanksgiving when I was out there. The second time on the North Shore, I had a chance to spend Thanksgiving with a good friend of mine's family, and it was just all love, man. They had that one thing about Hawaiians; there never is a shortage of food. Like there
Really?
was two turkeys, two hand. Like I mean, they did the whole shebang. And the Hawaiian, my buddy and his cousins and his uncles are outside drinking Heinekens, gambling on the football games on Thanksgiving, and just getting that whole different perspective on life. I think moving and immersing yourself in other cultures is just amazing, because it rubs off on you. And I think a big part of me is too, because I lived in a lot of different places, and everywhere you go has got a different vibe.
Yeah, man. That's one place that I haven't gone yet, to Hawaii. And when and I have a couple ideas for some episodes that I want to do over there. I would get into some fun stuff going out there, man.
I think you
And you say the food, I'm like, oh, don't even get me started on the food. And I hear they do like the solid pig, right? They like with the bonfire, right? They get like a pig and they do one solid pig. Le ponen la manzana right there. It's all in the open. You just walk on over and you like grab a cheek or grab an ear, and there you go, man.
To be honest with you, since I've never really gone to Oahu like a tourist, I've never been to a
A
luau.
luau.
I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
been to a luau. Never have. Um, but Hawaii changed a lot my perspective on a lot of things going out there. And it's like I said, everywhere you live, if you don't get out of your comfort zone, you'll never know how things are outside of it. And that's what I always tried to do, was get outside my comfort zone a lot in life. Like just like pick up and go to Hawaii. I'm gonna be all right. All right, I'm out. I'm gone 2 months. I'll see you guys when I get back. Like my parents didn't understand it. Like, what do you do out there? You're just going out there and being a bum. And it's like, nah, man. I had have money saved up so I could stay out there and not have to work and just surf as much as I can, party at night, and just have a good time.
Yeah, and that's part of living life, man. Like little did you know that being out there, you're growing life experiences to eventually influence like your music and the things that you're doing, and coming out and just sharing with the rest of the world, man. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Um, but you're all over the place, right? I think you have a music video coming out pretty soon, don't you?
Yeah, we got a music video coming out. So I got a new single called Tell Me. It's a record that was produced by Able Beats. That's dropping on Friday. Well, if you're on the West Coast, at tomorrow night at 9 p.m., that song's finally dropping. That song, Tell Me, I recorded it last summer while I was on vacation. And well, I guess it was vacation. While I was out there in Palm Springs, I was out visiting my son, and usually like I take my studio with me because you never know what kind of vibe you're gonna get when you're somewhere else instead of just at my studio at home. And I set up my studio, and this song, uh, it, I've been sitting on it since the end of. I did it in September of last year, and I've been sitting on it to release. I wanted to release it at the beginning of summer this year, and we just wrapped up shooting the music video. Big shout out to the community of East LA, Whittier, Montebello, Commerce for all turning out. Man, it was a big turn up. There was a lot of people. It was a lot of good vibes. A lot of people wanted to be in the video. Met a lot of great people. It was such a good vibe. I got a lot of love for the East LA community, and they let me go out there and put it down, man. And this, I can't wait for this video to come out. We had so many lowriders, and the vibe was just right. You know, working, that was my first time working with Herds Media. It was a very easy experience working with him. He's a great guy behind the camera, and he's got a lot of direction with what he's doing. It was a great time to work with him, especially being the first time. I look forward to working with him again in the future. And I really can't wait for this song to come out. It's the last single that I'm dropping before my album comes out on July 29th.
July 29th, that's the big day. So
That's
what is so how do people get your music? Do they get it like on, can you download it or you buy it like in CD
well,
or
the easiest thing to do would just go to my Instagram at Dylan Garcia Music. Hit the link on my profile. It will take you to all my páginas. It has my music, my videos, my podcast, and my clothing store. You can see all that right there. Just go to my Instagram at Dylan Garcia Music, DYLAN, like Bob Dylan, Dylan Garcia Music. And just, I look forward to connecting with more people, meeting more people. It's all love. I'm really getting a kick out of doing these videos in the morning, like happy aloha hump day. Like I never realized like how big of an impact like that little 15 seconds that I share just some good news like really affects people in a good way. So I take that to heart and make sure I'm consistent in doing that every day, because you never know who just needs a little pick me up.
yeah, man, I think those work for sure. You sent me one, and believe it or not, when you said to me and when you sent it to me, I'm like, oh, it got me all cheery. I'm like, oh, look, you sent me a video. I'm like, man, that's awesome, man. Positive energy, definitely works, and it could change like your whole day, man. I always like I when something like when stuff's not going my way, right? And then I ask myself, are we gonna have a good day today? Or are we gonna have a bad day today? Like I kind of coach myself, right? And then I say, we're gonna have a good day, and I'm like, that's right, yes we are. So I kind of like, because I noticed that sometimes I have to be my own coach and my own supporter because there's nobody around, so I gotta pep myself up. So it's awesome that you're able to do that for all your
Yeah.
subscribers and your followers, and you have quite a few. I'm like, like I saw your following. I'm like, man, Dylan's got it going on, man. He's got a nice following.
Yeah, it's just been a culmination of just people sticking with me all these years that I've been doing music. It's really like people really stuck with me. I have some people that have stuck with me for many years, listening to all the songs that I put out, and a lot of them are really really impressed with how I've grown as an artist, and I guess is the level of songwriting that I'm doing right now and stuff. And like I said, just like they say, man, it takes 300 songs to write a good one.
Yeah, so one of the things that I encourage everybody watching this podcast right now, it's definitely go check him out on his social media, on his Instagram, and you know what, once you know who he is, share the content, let people know, we have another Chicano Latino artist, and we need to support him to make sure he needs
Thank
to get to where he needs to get. This is our way of helping one another out, man. And like I said, this is a good guy, and he's doing great things, man. But um, now that we got that out of the way, right? We talked about your great music and all that. You also do the surfing, man. How'd you get involved with the surfing?
Well, I always liked the beach. Everyone likes being a kid and going to the beach with the boogie board. We used to go. My mom worked at a preschool. You know, as I was growing up, so she always had the summers off while me and my brother were off for school. So she would take us down to the beach, and I just always really wanted to get into it. Something about the ocean, just getting in the water. And it wasn't until I transferred high school.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
it wasn't until I transferred high school in the middle of my junior year that that's when my there was I switched high schools, and the high school I transferred to, had a lot of white people at the high school. And I had a buddy named Jeb, and he always brought the bodyboard magazines, and I would always, man, let me check it out, and I flipped through it, and then next thing I know, I bought myself a wetsuit, got myself a board and fins. And once I got my license, man, every Saturday, Sunday morning, I was leaving the house like at 6 a.m. trying to get in the water. And where I started learning how to bodyboard was at Leo Carrillo Beach down if north of Malibu. And it just stuck with me. I played baseball. Once I got out of high school, I played baseball in college. My first year at the junior college, I played baseball, and I ended up hurting my shoulder. It was just damaged, tissue damage from many years playing baseball. And I had to have surgery. And when I had surgery, and I had a sling on all the time, I was more pissed off that I couldn't surf. I never went back to playing baseball again. I had an opportunity to try out for UC Irvine's baseball team, but I didn't do it. I just wanted to surf and go to school. And that's just another thing, like just getting in the water and being, just being out there. It's not like playing baseball. It's not like playing any other sport, because the only one you're competing against is Mother Nature, and Mother Nature can be forgiving or unforgiving at times. And, it's just a whole different ballgame. And I really like the freedom of being in the water and not doing a team sport, like being on my own and just catching waves and just trying to catch that vibe, the way it feels when you're riding a wave. And now, I don't get in the water as much as I used to, because of my hips. But when I'm on stage and I'm performing, I get that same stoke, that same adrenaline rush that I did when I'd be surfing waves. And it was always a big rush. I competed while I was in college. I competed on the U.S. pro amateur circuit, which was it was a California tour. So every weekend we were at a different beach in California competing. I want to say that was in maybe in 2002, in 2002, I was doing that. And that just changed everything. Like, a lot of my good friends were people that I surfed with, because when you surf with your friends, you have this kind of bond, that you're out there in the water, you're catching waves. You have a bond when one of your friends sees you catch a perfect wave, or you're out there getting blasted because the waves are so big, and you're just so happy that you made it out alive, and these bonds are created with people that you surf with. And it's just surfing was good to me. The surfing part of my life was really good to me, because that's what got me that's why I went to Hawaii. Like, if I wouldn't have surfed, I probably would have never went to Hawaii. That's what got me to go to UC Irvine, because Newport Beach was right there. I wanted to stay close to the beach, and a majority of my decisions always had to do with the beach in mind. I always trying to make decisions so I'd still be able to surf.
I would imagine that surfing is an experience like no other. It's like, how do you describe something that's so unique within surfing, right? I can only imagine. I've gone to the beach and had great times at the beach doing the body surfing. You can't compare, but I could just imagine my enjoyment getting like a little small wave body surfing. Now imagine you standing on a board and it feels like you're flying. It's like, it's just that I could all be like, tell me, but I guess it's something that you just have to experience to actually know what it's like, right?
Yeah. It was. I had a girlfriend that made fun of me. She said, "The surfing rapper." I've never heard of it. But this is early. This is early 2000s. Everyone always had something to say to me. "Oh, you're gonna do music? Why are you doing music?" Because I was an educated kid. I went to college. I got my 4-year degree. But when that music bug hit, I couldn't let it go. It was something that I knew I had to stick, that was just a part of me. And that's just who I am. I couldn't see myself not writing music anymore. One of my biggest fears is if I'll ever lose it, if I'll ever lose the creativity. That's what I was really worried about. with taking some of these meds that I take, for mental health. Like, is it gonna block my creativity? I was always really worried about that, and now it just feels good, to being healthy and just taking control over my mind, taking control over the mental illness, that they say I'm diagnosed with, just taking control and like grabbing life, like by the reins, and just going with it. And just super grateful, man. Super grateful.
That's a beautiful story, man. It's like as you were talking, and telling us about your life experiences and stuff, and people are telling you if you're gonna be a surfing rapper, right? It's like we only live once.
Yeah.
We only live once, right? And it's like I could imagine. It's like there's some people that are watching right now, and you're probably working at a job where you go every day, and you don't like it. You wake up and you go to that job every single day, but you want to be a comedian, you want to be a singer, you want to be an actor, and you want to do something, right? And you're not. It's like if you don't do that, you're never gonna get the opportunity. Look, I rather do it and fall in my face, and like it's like it's you take the wave, right? You wipe out, but you say, hey, I took the wave, right? I'd
Yeah.
rather do that than,
Oh,
than, than to be like, oh, you know what? I was standing on the beach and I never took that wave.
yeah.
It's we got to take those opportunities, man, because sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. But what makes this life fun, it's the journey, most definitely.
Yeah. It's the journey. Definitely the journey. I was reading a book, and it talked about start living your life like you're not going to live forever, because I think we take it for granted that we just wake up, we go do our routine, we go through our day. But when you start taking in consideration that it's not going to be forever, and you learn that your time is limited on this earth, you try to do as much as you can and take advantage of the time that God gives you, and don't waste it.
Yeah, for sure. I think some of us that have gone through some like traumatic like stuff in our lives, we wait with like something inside your brain just snaps, right? And
Yeah.
and then you come to the realization that you just said, and it's like for me, I wake up every day and I'm like, I value time. Time is
Yeah.
my biggest asset, right? Like figure stuff out. And I always like when I talk to people, I always ask them about how long is this gonna take, or like I try to utilize the best ability to time, right?
Yeah.
And because that's what it is, man. And yeah, it's definitely like that. So I think you have your thing that you went out to. I don't know if you know about my story, but I was like, well, I still am really overweight. But I try very hard to live a better positive lifestyle, and I changed my life because I know that I'm getting closer towards that I'm getting to the halfway mark or closer to the end. And as I realize that I'm getting there, I'm like, you know, I'm not getting any younger. So if I want to do these things, I got to do them now, because I
Yeah.
don't want to be that guy that's 80 years old going to the pyramid and I'll be like, oh, mira, ya están. Yeah, they're over there. Right? No, man, I wanna be able to go to the pyramids and try to walk up them or something, or go to Mexico City and have a tamal, or I don't know, a taco or whatever. Quien sabe, right? Just experience life. That's the beauty of life.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
So, with that being said, talk about tacos and whatnot. I'm gonna ask you this question:
Okay.
what's your favorite taco?
Um, pastor, cebolla, cilantro, salsa verde.
Salsa verde.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have this thing that I call the trifecta,
Okay.
right? In order for you to gauge whether it's a good taqueria or not, you always order a taco de asada and a taco del pastor. And
Yeah.
and if both of them are solid, then it's a good taqueria, right?
Yeah.
And then when I want to do like when I want to like close that out, I order a taco de tripa. That's a trifecta. And if they form the holy taco trinity, ooh, forget it. That's a spot right there, man. That's a JR special right there. Yeah, man. Any good spots up where you're at to go eat some tacos?
Yeah. There's a place in Oxnard. It's called El Taco de Mexico. It's on Fifth Street. There's a couple different ones, but they're like a small little franchise. But there's the one that's on Fifth Street, and That's the spot, man. And it's one of the best. No other place that I've ever been to can make a burrito, a carne asada burrito compared to theirs. I don't know what it's just. Maybe it's the grease they use. Maybe I don't know what it is, but that place, man, with the carne asada burrito with everything and salsa verde, that place, whew, that's just I have an addiction to that place right there.
Yeah, because there's different ways of making the tacos, man. Like sometimes, like people tell me, "How do you do this? How do you do that?" And I just tell them how to do it. And I know they're never gonna be able to do it the way I do it, right? Because
Yeah,
it's the way you handle the meat, the way you prepare it. How como lo asas. How do you do the guacamole? Everything. It's never exact. So everybody has their own particular way of doing things. So that's what makes like tacos and food so unique.
yeah, because everyone's got their way of doing it.
Yeah. All right. Listen, Dylan. I had a blast. You're
Hey,
you're you're a great guest. You open yourself up to everybody, letting the world, and everybody watching all the great things you do. I invite everybody to support this man right here. Follow him on all his social medias. Like I said, we're gonna push for him, share his content. We're gonna get him to where he needs to be. Any last thing you want to share with the audience before we go?
yeah, I just want to share this, man. You can be counted out. You can be counted out. You can end up in a mental hospital like I did. Um, but you also have the opportunity and the decision to make if you want to fight back. And Mike, I like using this quote: "If I can do it, you can too." Because I mean, that was a long journey through mental health, trying to get good. Once I made the decision to want to get good and to fight back and to take back control of my life, telling myself every day there's no reason why I can't have an ordinary life like everybody else. And maybe with me and my crazy makes it a little extraordinary, but there's no reason why I can't do it. And and all grace to God, all thanks to God for helping pulling me out of all these trials and tribulations that I went through. And yeah, all grace to God, man. And thank a big thank you to my wife, for always being my right hand and always having my back, and my son, and just never give up. Whatever there's something that you want to chase, or something a decision you got to make, or something you want to chase after, some goal you got. I mean, it can be a small goal, whatever it is, go for it. Because once you take that first step, you never know how far you're going to keep going. And all depends, and all it starts is just with taking that first step.
Well said. Thank you, Dylan. All
Right on.
right. And I want to thank everybody watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel on the Tacos and Workouts on YouTube. What it is podcast. And we'll see you guys next time.